What's up? I'm gonna start laughing. Wait, let me do it again.
Do it again.
No, we gotta leave that in there.
Yeah,
All right. What's up, Paper Room? So excited for this episode 34.
34, Shaq.
We're like in our
I'm 34 right now.
You 34?
That's crazy.
Wow, this episode is dedicated to
Oh, man,
Pastor
I'm
Danny.
so
Dedicated to
for
Danny.
co-hosting and venting the
Oh.
Paper Room podcast.
Yes.
Feel old.
So
You
we're
are.
thankful. So thankful for everybody that's been listening and sharing
Amen.
our podcast. Thank you all for hyping us up. Not even, just because it's not us, but
Yeah.
it's what God leads us to share and hopefully help encourage young adults. So if you have a favorite episode, share it with somebody.
Well, we should do a survey of people's favorite
Yeah.
Paper Room
I did it for the first, I think it was like the first 20 episodes. I dropped like a top 10
Oh,
of
okay.
that. I'll do it again.
Yeah,
let's do that
we
again.
gotta do it again. Like
Yeah.
the end of the year.
But the favorite one is going to be Megan and Sebastian with Uncomfortable. Cause
Well, that's
For
flying
real.
on. That's
That one-
flying.
When
Blowing.
Uncomfortable started,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
Blowing
that's
up.
good.
real good.
Shout out to Sebastian.
Shout out Sebastian.
Shut up.
Shout out
Yeah, it's been really good. We have some more good content on the way, so keep tuning in, binging. And so I'm gonna start us off with a little interactive segment. It is blind ranking again,
Okay.
but this is Christmas season, so
Okay.
we're gonna do just like we did fall things,
Uh-huh.
like blind ranking fall things. We're gonna do Christmas things,
Let's do it.
just Christmas things.
I love Christmas.
So
The season.
we know how it works, right? Ranking from 1 to 5, 5 being the worst,
Okay.
1 being the best.
Yes.
So completely general things about Christmas. So first thing, Christmas movies.
Oh, gosh.
It's like a really, really good one.
That is a great one.
That is.
Have you all started watching Christmas movies already?
We
No.
kind of did.
What do you,
So we're starting
or
off
do you have a
easy.
first one that you watch all the time?
Since we
every season?
decorated all the time, or we decorated already, we put on Narnia because it's like not a Christmas movie, but it's still
wintry.
winter.
It's like setting it up.
It's wintry,
It's
so
a wintry
That's
mix.
interesting.
Okay.
Do you have a movie that you start off like your Christmas season with?
No,
Oh, Summer and I do.
not a movie. I mean, we watch Elf and Santa Claus every year.
We watch Elf when we decorate,
Okay.
but we have a movie that we like just kick off the season with.
For Christmas.
No,
Hey.
no, it's The Holiday. I love that movie.
Oh, when the lady go over to London.
When they switch spots and
Yeah,
like
you
what's
like
his-
that
I
movie?
It's a
haven't
great
seen that
movie.
one.
You never seen The Holiday?
Hey,
It's
that's
a
a
great
good.
movie.
Every year you suggest
Yeah.
something different.
Jack Black,
It's a good movie,
Yeah, I
but
haven't seen
Cameron
it.
Diaz, and Kay Winslet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you would like it.
So random.
she would like it. Girls love it.
It's
That's why I'm
it's like a little
surprised.
rom com. Anyway, Christmas movies is huge. Oh man, I'm putting that 2.
Ugh.
I love Christmas.
I don't know
movies.
what you're gonna say, so I'm
Elf.
gonna say 3.
Okay.
I like.
And
I'm
I
too.
don't say one, right? Because I mean I know what's
No,
next.
you can just
You
give us
can
your
say
rankings
one.
later.
All right, later.
2.
All right. Christmas decorating.
Like the actual act of doing
Yeah,
it.
like-
Oof.
5.
Yeah, 5 easily. I'm not really like the
Really?
biggest fan of decorating. I love getting a real Christmas tree now, but it's like keep it simple. Like I think we
Yeah.
had just like one color, like only of ornaments on it.
Mm.
I am gonna put Christmas lights on our house because we have our house for the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Oh,
did that last
yeah.
year. So my wife,
do it.
she loves Christmas, but like when she on the decorating tear,
Nah,
woo, it's like I leave home, come to work, I leave work, go back home
mm-hmm.
to work.
Yeah,
It's like another shift.
Mm.
right, for sure.
Oh,
I will say if you guys are young adults who know Pastor Louis, go hit up his house
Oh yeah.
and just
I need to go visit. I need
yeah,
to go see.
just embrace.
he goes all out.
Christmas
They go all out.
Wonderland.
Yeah, for me, decorating is like, we'll put like a little.
I'm a
wreath.
female, so
Yeah.
I love decorating.
And males
I
can
mean,
like
I'm sure
decorating,
there's
it's okay.
some girls that don't like it, but
5.
I was just very excited.
Yeah, it's a 5 for me.
All right, 5, and then y'all got movies at 2.
I have 2. He has 3.
Okay, 2 and 3. Christmas gifts.
Giving or receiving? Or just-
I guess they're 2 different things.
yeah, I am a terrible gift giver. I will say that.
Oh, me too, but
Yeah.
it's because I put a lot of thought in my gifts.
To me, I just want to give you like the most practical, easiest thing. Like, here you go, take it.
Yeah.
I
I think if I did that, people would like my gifts.
I guess imagine Christmas without gifts, like just gifts in general.
Well, Jesus is the gift. But
Amen.
No,
Right,
I'm
right,
just- Yes, you are.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
put it
a
at
joke.
4.
Ooh.
Yeah. I like receiving
I
them.
love gifts. Like
I'm not the greatest at giving.
I'm gonna put gifts at 2.
Okay.
No, because I want to say 1 and I want to say 2, but I don't know where you're going with
Right.
this, so
Okay.
I gotta.
So I'm at 4.
Okay.
So
So
I have 1 and
you
3. I
have
have 1 and 3 open.
1 and 3.
And I got 1 and 4.
Okay. So y'all are waiting for something.
Give me
good.
something good.
Okay, wait. Hot chocolate.
Oh,
Ah,
man, I would have put that below gifts.
I would have put that below decorating.
I'm put it at 3 for sure.
Okay.
I don't mind hot chocolate actually. It's like especially like a mocha, like you put a little coffee in there.
Right. Like
It's a good
you
Christmas
can get
drink.
creative with.
Yeah. I like
hot
hot chocolate.
chocolate.
So
Three's
growing up, I didn't associate hot chocolate with just Christmas. I associated hot chocolate with.
Well, because you were
hot
like
chocolate.
in the cold
But
weather.
with the cold.
Yeah. More.
But it ain't
Like you don't drink hot chocolate in the summertime. You drink it in the wintertime.
No, but like you could start drinking hot chocolate like in the fall now, because sometimes it get a little nippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just.
But the fall is pumpkin spice latte, bro.
Well,
True.
So once that
yeah.
goes away, then you bring out the
well,
hot
back in the day, wasn't no
Yeah.
pumpkin spice.
Oh, that's
latte.
true. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm gonna put it at 4.
But when
you.
when we decorate at our campuses, we're gonna have hot chocolate. Like
Yeah.
that's the drink to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the valley, it's
Right. True.
hot chocolate.
Yeah.
3. Oh man, I need a good one.
So hot chocolate for me, like I was always afraid of it because I was afraid I would burn myself.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Like I was just afraid.
Well,
to
see,
drink
I
hot
like
chocolate.
that Mexican hot chocolate
too
because
hot.
y'all just put that big chunk of chocolate in the milk with all of those spices and
Some
Ooh.
Reese's.
Reese's in the hot
No,
chocolate.
no.
But
Oh.
now I'm not afraid, so I love it. Last one, Christmas food,
What would be like Christmas food?
like your Christmas meal that you have,
Ooh,
like.
well,
With
I thought you were
family.
gonna say Christmas music.
Oh, that would have been good.
Oh wow. Okay. That
Change
was-
it.
Can't
yeah.
believe I didn't think of that.
I do we do tamales every Christmas morning. Christmas ham.
Yeah,
I love ham. I was telling someone
Me
like I only eat ham
too.
twice a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Honey ham,
Yeah, Nikki loved to make her ham is crazy.
Yeah.
She makes a candied ham.
So it has to be 1 for me.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have been 1. I think movies would have been 1.
Mm.
So Christmas food for me, I'm gonna go with a 1 because I love that, and we theme out our Christmas because with Thanksgiving and Christmas so close together, we do Cajun Christmas. So
Wow.
I make
every year?
I make gumbo. Sometimes we get a turducken, which is a
Interesting.
turkey stuffed with a duck and a chicken,
Wow.
and yeah. So we have Cajun Christmas. So I love the Christmas food.
Okay.
It's fun.
So how do y'all feel about your rankings?
They're okay.
Yeah.
I for sure would have put movies over
I can't. Well,
food.
I guess I thought of movies because music is in the movies, like Rudolph, like the
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
But I love
just-
Christmas movies because like the other thing I do also is I watch like Christmas episodes of shows I like. We do it a lot, like The Office, Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
We'll go back
yeah.
and watch all those.
Yeah,
Or,
we
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin Christmas episode is pretty funny when they at the train at the bus station trying to get home.
yeah.
That's good.
The New Girl Christmas episode where they're at the airport is like it's
It's good.
next level. It's so funny.
Nice.
We need to we need to watch those.
But yeah,
Drop your list of Christmas episodes and
yes,
we'll watch those.
let's do it.
So, that was
So we are
Christmas.
in the season of Christmas.
Yes.
Halloween's over,
Merry and
Thanksgiving's
bright.
still there, but
Yeah,
but
and
we're
that's
getting ready.
a pet peeve of mine.
I know. Say it.
That we just skip over Thanksgiving. Like,
We don't skip over it.
we kind of do.
it's
Like,
there.
we go from Halloween to
the
Christmas
stores
decorating.
do. The stores do. I feel like they have like here's one
Right.
shelf of Thanksgiving, but
Yeah.
it's still November, and we're gonna,
Yeah.
you know, lay out all the.
But I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas.
Yeah,
So
no, I love the season of Christmas. Christmas in New York, oof,
I
beautiful,
bet that was nice.
gorgeous, Rockefeller tree. But hey, I'm excited for today's episode. One of the things that we do, like we've done in the past, is pull questions
Okay.
from people, but also just kind of general conversations that we have with young adults. And this is actually a question that Isha brought up with a conversation she had with one of our young adult girls. The Christmas, it's a season to be jolly, right?
Yeah.
But what do we do whenever the holiday season doesn't feel so joyful, right?
Mm.
That maybe you're a college student and you're in town. You go to UTRGV, STC, or our new A&M campus, but you're not from the Valley. So you're like away from your family. during the holiday season, whether it's Thanksgiving or maybe even into Christmas, and you don't have the resources to get home.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so you're away from your family, your immediate family. Or you maybe you're tied this season to experiencing of a loss, that you lost a loved one, prayerfully not, but a parent, grandparent, something
or
like
relationship.
that. Yeah, a relationship that's broken. Which is the whole premise of 4 Christmases. is they go to 4 different Christmases because both of their parents are divorced.
Yeah.
And so
I bet that can be very tiring.
Oh gosh, yeah. For the movie, it looked exhausting.
Yeah.
But it was comedic. But yeah. So how do you walk through that season? So we want to talk about today, and I don't know if any of us are experts in this field, but I still think we can bring some really cool, interesting spiritual practices. And I do want to encourage you with this. If you're tuning in and maybe you're like, that doesn't really apply to me. All my family's here. Everything is going great. I do think it can apply to you because you might know someone that goes through the season. You might have a friend, and you may not even know that friend is going through something difficult because it's a tempting thing to just put on a front like everything is good, but internally they may be walking through something hard. So my prayer is for everybody. This can be an encouraging episode, but it might help you better respond to a friend that you might have that might be walking through something. And so we want to talk about really 2 things. Like, one, from the person who maybe you're just trying to survive this season. Like you can't wait till January 1st. Like you just want to get over the holiday season and you want to start the new year. And my hope is that we can give you some helpful practices to not just survive, but thrive this season. And then for someone else that maybe you're not going through the season, but you know someone who might be, how do you respond to them? And how can you best put some practices to help someone else thrive in the season as well? So those are kind of the 2 things that we're going to zone in on. And so, like I said, I don't believe any of us are experts in this subject, but I think we can bring some encouragement to this. So kind of starting from the perspective of someone who's walking through a difficult season, what are some ways that someone who might find this season difficult, how they can just thrive and not survive during this holiday season as they contemplate maybe their past or contemplate that they're away from family?
I like that you mentioned just in thinking, putting ourselves in that perspective, right? Maybe we've experienced different kind of things during the holiday season, but really putting ourselves in the perspective that it's hard, the difficult, season of trying to go through holidays when it's very focused on family. I like that you mentioned it can be easy to put on a face, like a front, that everything's okay, especially because we know everybody's busy. Like everyone, is running 100 miles an hour trying to get things ready and done for the holidays. So one of the things I would encourage and say is to be open. Be it as hard as it can be open. Like That's be good. Honest with your friends, the people that are close to you, the people that are in your circle, even if it's not family. Like if you trust at least one person, be open and honest with one person, because I think it's even more draining to just hold something inside and to walk around with being the only person knowing information. Like it's that much more draining. But knowing like, okay, at least this one person knows that this information is there, that it might have happened years ago or maybe I'm still going through it. But it's helpful and comforting to know at least one person knows other than me.
Biblically, we're called to carry each other's burdens, right?
That's good.
And so when we do that, now we're not carrying all the load ourselves. I've said this illustration before, this story in a I don't remember what episode it was. But at one season in my life, I felt like I was experiencing heart palpitations, right? Mm-hmm. And I later learned it was anxiety mixed with way too much coffee, and just a crazy season of life. And so I remember going through that. I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like I'm fine. And then I'd be lying in bed and you just like, boof, like you just feel your heart beating. It's a scary thing.
Yeah, that heart.
And you're like, I'm gonna die. Like this is it. I'm gonna die right now on my bed.
No.
And for like 2 weeks, I didn't tell anybody just because I assumed it would go away, and 2, I didn't want to make Summer or somebody else like think like we're in a panic, whatever.
Yeah.
So then finally I was like, I have to go to the doctor. Like something is wrong. And it was like midnight or something, lying in bed. I couldn't sleep. And Summer couldn't notice that I was awake. And so I told her, hey, I've been experiencing this for about 2 weeks. Luckily her response was not like, why didn't you tell me? Like upset. It was just like, okay, like, well then let's figure something out. And I generally feel that the moment that I shared that with her,
it got better.
I felt like 50% better.
Yeah.
Like, like a weight was lifted off. Like now someone else is in this with me, right? And that's what we say about church all the time. Is like when you believe in Jesus, you're part of a church. You don't have to go through the difficult things by yourself.
Well, the thing is, especially like emotional things and like very difficult realities and difficult realities that are triggered by certain seasons that everybody is in. Like our world is in the holiday season. Like so, for those of us that struggle with it, you will not be able to escape the difficulty.
Right.
Like it's what are you gonna do? Crawl in the hole until the new year? No. January, So, but that's a great point that both of you made. When you can escape the difficulty of a situation, embrace community and invite community into that situation with you. I think of, 3 Hebrew boys. Like they could not escape the difficulty of the fiery furnace, right? But
come on,
they embraced community and God stepped in it with them. And so in this season, you may feel like a burden. And I just want to say something. You might be a burden. Like what you're feeling is heavy and it is what it is, but invite people, like you guys said, invite people into that with you. And you never know, man. You might, you might get another family.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And more than invite people, obviously you invite God in the situation.
Absolutely.
Like hopefully you've done that. I want to say it's Psalm 34. I could be wrong about that, but it's when David is in the cave, and it's his cave moment. And in the cave, he's saying like, God, I'm gonna praise you anyway. And so I love that in that psalm, David doesn't pray for an escape. He wants to experience God in the cave, right? I was reading this book. It's The Night is Normal by Alicia Britt Chole, a fantastic resource. And she starts off the book with talking about when she was a little girl. Whenever there was a storm that was coming, they would hear thunder. Her dad would take her to the front porch, and they would watch the lightning.
Wow!
And so, that became normal for them. And so she said she was scared, but then her dad would wrap his arms around her, and they would watch the lightning together. And so she said, growing up, she always equated storms with moments with her dad.
Come on, man!
And so when I read that, I was like, "Shoot, that is powerful."
Yeah,
and so she talks about how the night needs to be normalized, right? That like we think that the night is very bad, which is scary. It's difficult, obviously, but God created the day and the night, right? When it came to the creation, whenever we're in moments of the night, we feel like we're like walking in failure, walking in difficulty, all that stuff. But she says this, that storms are survivable when we view them as relational. The night is filled with holy invitations to grow our love for God. And we tend to forget that God created the night and the day in those moments. And so faith in God is not just a day faith, it's also a night faith. And so
that's good.
In those moments of difficulty, how could it be to where maybe we're running to the arms of the Father?
Yeah.
Right. When it feels like we want to just run away from that, we want to, like it's hard to understand what someone is going through, right? Because maybe we haven't lived through that or gone through that episode. And it's easy to say like, yeah, just go to God. But like God is literally inviting us to encounter Him both in the joyful moments, but also in the dark night of the soul moments.
That's good. And you talked about Christmas gifts. When in the Gospels, I think it's Matthew, when Jesus is he's giving gifts by the wise men, right? And Jesus he's a toddler at this time, but that's where we get the Christmas gifts coming into Christmas,
right?
But simultaneously during that time, there were women who had their children slaughtered, and
right, because the king,
because Herod,
right, because King Herod was
he went wild, and so simultaneously we have the joy and the generosity and the giving of gifts, and Jesus who's present, and then we have this deep sorrow and wailing and difficult time. And one of the things, and I was reading that this morning, but one of the things that just encouraged me was the power of the Spirit of God in that moment to, number one, protect Jesus, because he, the wise men got involved and they said, hey, this dude's out to kill you. But, and then God tells Joseph, hey, get up and go to Egypt. Mm-hmm. Like y'all don't need to stay here. And that's for somebody. I think.
Yes, because now they're leaving their hometown. They're leaving where they're from. Right?
Yeah, you're leaving. They're going to Egypt. That's new. It's uncomfortable. It's different. But God is like, hey, there is a deep darkness. There's a real enemy. There's a real heaviness. But you don't have to stay here.
No.
And you don't. And when you invite people in, you don't have to stay.
That's good. That reminds me of another thing that I wanted to say because, well, that's like the overarching, like in a moment when we're feeling something, some kind of emotion. It could even be anger associated with the holiday. But in a moment that we're just going about our day and then something triggers that emotion, that pain, that tragedy maybe that we felt or experienced, then everything becomes about that moment. And so that reminds me that when we're in that moment, what do? We want to escalate that and make that our entire day. Yeah. Like I just had that moment. And so now my entire day is that I had that moment, but we don't have to stay there. We don't have to let our heart turn to that moment either. Like it's happening inside. And so whatever comes out, and we should definitely feel and take the moments that we need to really mentally process the moment and everything in our thoughts and our experiences in our hearts, but then move from that moment and not let an entire day turn into that one moment.
Yeah. And just I guess some thoughts here. Like, how do you what are some practical ways to do that? To like literally not stay there, like to not allow that moment to take over your day or even your whole season, because it could happen. Like, man, I'm still not over what happened last month, right? Mm-hmm. And so, what are some practical things that someone can do to literally not stay there? And it might be a physical moving from one place to another, but even spiritually, what are things that we can do?
I think in the holiday season, and this may not sound spiritual, but I think it's very spiritual. Get around some people that love you and have some good food. Like eat something good. You know what I mean? Like, God,
the breaking of bread, man.
The breaking of bread is spiritual.
Yeah.
God uses the table many times in the scriptures. And so I think that is one of the ways, like you may not be able to be around your family. And I'm not saying that that's not a big deal, because that's a big deal. I love my family. Growing up, my mom would have to work a whole lot of Christmases. And so, we would just wake up in the morning and she would have to go to work, and, she'd be there till we can open up gifts, and then she would go to work, and then, go to her aunt's house for Christmas. I mean, this happened several times. So I enjoy Christmas, but Christmas, sometimes it felt like, we were on the move to somebody else, not being able. So I get it. But, that's why I say get around some people that love you and want to love you and want to share and eat some good food and enjoy that moment. You might not have the moment you wanted.
Come on.
But you may get to experience that moment. And in that moment, that
God can still show you something in that
absolutely.
moment.
Absolutely.
I think we need to be open, like I said,
be
open to help, but also be open to plans. Like even just the first thought that we might get is to say no to things because of how we're feeling, because of the day that we had. But, I'm sure we'll talk about how we help others a little bit later. But as that person that is feeling a lot, going through a lot, and if you do have the community, if you've invited community in and they know about it and they're inviting you, to be with people, to not be alone, to not be isolated, then be open to saying yes to things, even if you don't know how it's gonna go. You won't know till you get there. So say yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. That not quite related to holiday season, but we had a friend come over and it was her first time hanging out at our house, and I won't share her name, but as soon as she got there, she got a phone call that her grandma had to go to the hospital.
Oh man.
Right. And she came in weeping and went straight to the bathroom. And I was like, oh shoot, like
what happened?
Okay, like what happened? And then she ultimately decided to stay, and then we had an awesome time. Like it was great. And later on, she told us like, man, it was a really powerful moment for me just to be able to hang out with you guys. And so to say like, be open and you may feel like you're a burden, but I mean, prayerfully, the people you're hanging out with are going to be okay lifting that burden with you. And
exactly.
And we had no idea what was going on, but it was just cool to see like that she was willing to stick it out. Right. And that's part of community. Like it's going to be messy. It's not always going to be like we're going to have the best time ever and everyone's going to laugh 24/7.
Because even at some people's family functions, some mess happens. You know what I mean? Like I know at
everyone got that uncle.
Exactly.
Be like Trump or Biden, right at the opening presents. It's like, okay, we can do this right now. And so and so now kind of flipping it. What are practical things that we can do? Like maybe you're not going through this difficult season, but you might know someone who is. Like what are some ways that we can help someone, but also what are things that maybe we should not do as well? Kind of looking at those practical things. And I'll just share one that came to my mind just as we were talking. Like one thing that I would love to do, like, man, just the whole idea of at the table is maybe like every, and I say this, I don't want to overcommit to something, but when I get ideas, I run crazy.
Yeah.
But like every Friday in December, like every Friday night, let's have people at the house who maybe are not around family, and let's just do a Friday night little dinner hangout with people that need some community, walking through some difficult, or just with anybody really, but intentionally inviting those people as well, right? And just doing like a Friday night dinner party.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's neat.
So like that'd be something that I would love at least twice.
Yeah,
maybe not every Friday, but
that's neat.
Trying that out.
That's neat.
Yeah, I would say make the plans.
Yeah.
I think young adults, like just thinking about the season of life that young adults are in, whether you're single or even dating, like you have time. You do have the time. You don't have another, you don't have a spouse to commit to, that is your first priority. So if you are single and yes, you may work, you may have family commitments, but what would it look like to commit to those friends that are maybe not invited to a lot of places, or maybe that have been through a lot, and so you may not know all the details of how they really feel during the holiday season, but if God places a name on your heart, and if you have been given a name, then don't just send a text, don't even just call, go and visit that person, or make plans to be with people. To be present with somebody can mean so much, even if they never share, deep stuff. Like if God has placed certain people in your life that you find it a little bit awkward or hard to hang out with, make the effort to make plans with people. Because if you're thinking that one thing, other people, I'm sure, are thinking the same. And that's just, we're called to, like you're saying, open up our homes, but it doesn't have to be that extensive either. Like go to a coffee shop and spend at least an hour talking to somebody, not allowing somebody to feel alone during the holiday season.
And that's one thing for me, like it's so easy. One, I feel like I move at such a fast pace that I then bypass people, right? And then in the holiday season, I'm like, all right, now nobody talk to me. Right? Like it's those two paces, right?
Sure.
And so for me, like I feel like I need to slow down enough to see the person in front of me, because I love what you said. Like you may not even know they're going through something. Like I definitely won't know, because I'm in my personality. Like I'm not even trying to listen, but like I'm just going. At this conference we went through. We just went to in Nashville. They did like a prayer moment. I don't know if you remember at Passion when Jenny Allen like brought the whole house down and everyone went to pray. It was kind of like that, not as hardcore but similar.
Yeah.
But she said there was 2 prayer prompts. One if you're feeling distracted or discouraged. And she said if that's one, like if you're distracted, do this. And the prayer was you're sitting on a chair and Jesus is sitting right in front of you. On his chair, and the tendency is to look around his shoulder, look over his head, look this way, like you're distracted, right? But just look at Jesus, and that wrecked me. But I feel like that's what I need to do this season in order to be helpful to somebody. Is is, all right, like slow down enough to where I can see people
Yeah.
and maybe see what they're going through.
Yeah, and maybe and you know, for I would say this for young adults who this may be a difficult season, and you're with your family. You know, because not everybody is away.
Like you'd
from
rather
their
be
family.
with somebody else.
You'd rather be with somebody else, but be present.
Yeah, come on.
You know what I mean? Look at your grandmother or uncle or your mom, or you know what I mean. Another thing I would say is like, you know, you be the gift, and what I mean by that is, you know, if you're invited somewhere, help. You know, bring something.
Wash the dishes.
You know, like you be the gift. You know, I'm sure there's some seniors in your church that you know, connect with them. Like you be the gift and give your presence. Another thing that because Nikki and I we've had people over the house and you know, sometimes co-workers or things like that. You know, single co-workers don't have family. We've had people in our house, and I'll tell you, like, I am normal when they're at, like, I eat and I find my spot on the couch and
your house,
I take a nap. And I'm like, you can take a nap.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, like make yourself at home because you are at home. I think if somebody invites you somewhere, you know, honor their hospitality by not being weird. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you talked about some things that what not to do. Like if somebody goes through the trouble of inviting you to their home, inviting you to their table, you know, don't be awkward, you know. Feel like you belong there. Now, I'm not saying like you move in and bring your laundry over to
kick your shoes off.
Some people can. People wash their clothes at our house.
But you invited them,
right?
You know that. But what I'm saying is honor that hospitality by making yourself at home.
That's good.
You know, as they extend it, you know, because sometimes that, you know I have, but I'm a little weird. I know looking back in retrospect, I have offended people because I've been invited places and I don't want to be a bother, and they're like, oh, Pastor Nick, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And you know, over time you can see on their face like, what's wrong with this joker? Like,
why doesn't he want to come over?
He don't want no water. He don't want Why don't he want to come? You know,
don't rob someone's blessing.
Yes, and I'm learning to stop doing that.
Yeah,
and I'm learning because you know it's weird for me.
Yeah, that's good. Man, yeah, I love that. One thing I would say too is if someone does open up, they come up with the courage to be able to share what they're actually going through. One of my tendencies is like, all right, solutions. Let me give you a list of things that you can do. And I think for me, the better thing would be to just listen, right? And so try to be better listeners, you know, rather than providing solutions.
That's good.
Something.
That's helpful.
I would say too, like don't maybe practice the thing of not giving them a list of things to do,
or pray for them. Like if you feel at a loss of words, like if something if you really if you can't relate to somebody's story, that's okay. Like we mourn with the ones who mourn. Like we cry with those who cry. Make it a space where they feel comfortable crying too. Like I've told people when I'm, you know, talking to somebody and I can see that they feel like crying. I can see it, you know, or I see the tears in their eyes. And I give them permission. You can cry. Like that's okay. If it, you know, I'll cry too, you know, like if I see somebody crying, I'll cry. But ask them, you know, like what can I do to make you more comfortable or to make this a joyful season for you? Like just asking them would give them a voice, you know, not just us assuming, but if you really don't have any words to say, then God will give you the words. He has in all of his word, you know, he'll remind us constantly, I will be there. I will be the tongue. I will be the words in your mouth. So just, you know, allowing the Holy Spirit to provide comfort through you for those people is huge.
I think last thing is maybe consider taking a social Sabbath. Like if you struggle with desiring, like you said, like this may not be the thing that you wanted, but you know, this is what God has put in front of you.
Yeah.
The easy thing to do is you go on social media, you see what everyone else is doing, you start comparing. And so maybe for this season, you just hop off social for a little bit, and you'll be fine.
That's good.
Just to be able to, one, reflect more on where God has you and where God is taking you, because God is still teaching you in the night, right? When you're walking through the difficult things. and spend more time doing that. And because I think a lot of times we ask like why is this happening to me versus like, God, how do you want to use me in this?
Yeah.
And just, that's what David did in the cave. It's like he wasn't praying for an escape, he was praying for an encounter with God in that moment. And so encounter God in those moments as well. And so removing those distractions might help. But man, that was good.
That was good.
Woof. Holiday season.
It's upon us.
It's upon us. I love it. I felt like it was just like 2 months ago that we were ranking our favorite movies.
Man.
It's crazy. But
for Christmas.
It's crazy. I love it. But episode 34.
We're going to have another holiday episode.
We will, yeah. Yeah. I almost gave a preview, but I won't do it just in case we don't do it. But I'm excited. But I'm excited for the next one. Anyway, love you guys so much. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Praying that this blessed you and encouraged and helped you. And if it did, share it on your platforms. That way it can bless somebody else as well. But love you all so much. Thank you, Paper Room.
Bye.